Hey guys, welcome to the Thai Jam. This evening we are trying to do a kind of a different thing. We want to focus more like couples massage. So we're thinking there's so many people that work at desk jobs. Why not show you a couple ways you can help each other and just kind of do a couple moves that make you feel better after a long day of work. So get your mat set up, or I hope it already is set up, but if not, hurry up and put your mat down, your blankets, your pallet. And we're going to go ahead and start with our partner face up. Perfect. So after a long day of sitting in a chair at a computer or standing at the desk, I just want to kind of give some length to my receiver's body. Just doing a simple traction. It may not be easy for you to sit on your feet like I am. Find something that's comfortable for you. Don't ever feel like you need to do anything that will make you feel uncomfortable or cause pain. And I'm just naturally going to set our feet down. At this time, you could do some work to the feet, but we're not doing that. But feel free when you're on your own time to do so. So I'm going to come over to Andrea's body, the side of her body. That sounded. I'm going to come to your body. I'm just going to do a simple traction, little slide. And the way I'm holding her arm, I'm holding like this, right? So I could just pull and traction. I'm going to come in and open her arm. At this point, you always want to stay closer to your receiver so that you're not putting any strain on your low back. And you can just, see how I have my toes? I'm just kind of using those to prop my body up. If your receiver likes lighter pressure, you may need to be a little less on top. Think about gravity as you're working and how you can use that to your advantage to make the work easier on you. As I'm pressing on her arm, I'm just warming the muscles up and just opening them. We're reversing what you've been doing all day while sitting at the computer. If you want to show pecs, I can show you the anatomy really quick just so we can refer. So with my left hand, if you're working also on your receiver's left side, I'm using my left hand to compress her pec. And do be aware to not press too hard. Look at your receiver, sense what they feel is comfortable for them. But they should feel this opening. At the same time, my opposite hand, my right hand, is just doing some compressions lightly in her forearm. If your receiver experiences tightened forearm and has pain or possibly carpal tunnel type sensations, just be aware of the amount of pressure that you are giving your receiver, as they may not be able to receive as much pressure as someone that's not already having a lot of tightness and tension here. Also be aware we have the nerves that come through, and so it may get a little sensitive near the elbow. So just be aware to not apply too much pressure as we're just kind of rhythmically leaning in and doing some compressions. And I have to add this one in. We didn't talk about doing this one, but I have to add in just a quick little hand stretch because I find that this is so important. So you can see I have her hand. I'm just, don't push any further or harder than she can receive. And I'm just letting her hand open. Andrea, is that pressure good for you?
Yes.
All day we're holding things, gripping. So it's nice to reverse that and just give a little opening. You can keep on your computer. So since we're right here, I have Andrea's hand. I also have her glutes right here, which she's been sitting in the chair all day. Or maybe she's been standing at her stand-up desk and her glutes and quads are getting tight. But look, I have her hand right here. I can do a little compression with my foot and pull with my hand on her arm. Yeah. Come back, do a little compression. And so you can use bony landmarks to kind of figure out where you're supposed to be. I can feel the top of her hip right here. So I'm going to be right below that. And as we're rocking Andrea, your receiver, this rocking will relieve tension in her rectors, the muscles that go along the spine up to her neck. You can see by the movement, her neck is moving, so we're working on those muscles too, as I'm working on her glutes.
It feels amazing.
So if you'll go ahead and switch to the quad anatomy, so I can show that real quick before we go into some quad work. These muscles here make up our quadriceps. When you sit at the computer desk all day, you know, you may be shortening your muscles as you're sitting at the desk. Say if you do any hobbies of any sort, right, sport-wise, definitely going to have some tight quads. Many reasons why we'll have tight quads. So with my left foot, I'm going to loop it underneath Andrea's leg. With my right foot, I'm going to go right to the top. You'll feel where it feels like it fits right in. And you just kind of give a good compression. Andrea, how's that pressure?
Amazing. So
do be aware, your receiver's hand is really close to you. So you might just move it out a little bit. If they're not your partner, if they're just your friend, right? You may want to be more concerned about how your receiver is feeling. You don't want them to feel like they're in any areas that are uncomfortable. So do be aware that the side of your foot is sharp. You can see here I'm kind of using the side. Andrea likes some deep pressure. She's a busy lady.
Yes.
But if your receiver doesn't like as much pressure, keep it a little more general. So I'm going to move that. So instead of having it to the side, you might have it a little more broad here. Then also be aware, your left foot, it might be bony across the top. If your receiver is feeling like it's a little too much here, all you have to do is turn it sideways, just to give it a little bit of a more broad structure for your leg to rest on, right? So I like to do this compression hold for a little bit, slowly let out. So as the way I have her leg at an angle here, I'm able to get these quads. I'm gonna come in for a second. Compression here at the top of her quads. Would you like any more pressure?
Sure.
So you can see my knee isn't quite straightened. I'm just gonna straighten that bad boy out. Sometimes we have low back pain, right? And oftentimes that pain could be coming from over-tightened quads, pulling everything forward. So by doing this, we're loosening the quads to relieve some of the tension above and below. Always come in slow, always leave slow. These compressions can be very deep. So we don't want to be abrupt entering or leaving to create a different reaction within the muscle. We don't want it to spasm or lock up to protect. And you can keep going down the quad. I'm actually now entering a little bit more IT band, so I'm going to bring her leg up a little more because I was straightening her leg out a little bit. How's that compression, Andrea? Good?
Great.
Always check in with your receiver. Make sure that they don't want more pressure or less. Good communication is the best way to do this work. So I'm going to come out slow. A little more glute rocking, softening. And we're going to go to the other side. All right, once again, we're going to come in, just do some rhythmic compressions. I kind of think of making snakes in Play-Doh when I do this. We're just opening up, warming up these muscles. They've been overused all day, typing on a computer. If you're also a parent of young children, these muscles can get overused by holding kids and working with the other arm, so it's great to just kind of open them up and give them a little attention. Don't forget about the pecs. Will come up right here at the front of the shoulder, not on the bone, right? And just do a nice broad compression. For most people that work at computer desks, they have forward shoulders. So do be aware as to how much pressure you're giving with your right hand. Make sure it's something that's comfortable to where they don't feel like they need to protect. They can just receive it and feel more open. I'm moving the right hand down the arm and letting my left hand stay still as it's holding this compression in the forearm. And once again, remember that it might get sensitive right through here as there's nerves that pass through. I'm going to slowly let my left hand, you can see the blood's going to start rushing back to her hand. And I'm going to go for another compression here. Whenever you feel a different tone of muscle, if you feel like a more dense muscle, that most likely is where an area that needs some attention. But always make sure that as you're working, you let your receiver know that if they ever have anything they need to tell you as far as, move a little up, a little down, that communication should be open so that you can help them to the best of your ability. So after we've opened the arm, opened the pec a little bit, I'm going to sit next. So earlier I believe I might have been sitting on my feet like this. I want to show you a different way that you can do this work, right? So you can sit sideways like this. And we're just going to do some traction, a little slide. We're addressing muscles on both sides of her arm right now. Her flexors and her extensors are getting a little attention. Come down to the hand. You can pull. It's like milking the hand, giving that a thumb some attention because it's been busy all day. Set the elbow down, right? And here's where you come in. We meet our receiver where they are. So if Andrea's hand barely opened, then that's where we meet her. We don't push her too far. We let her open as she's ready. Is that too much or you're good? Okay.
You can go even more if you wanted to.
More, there we go.
Can't feel it, which is weird.
Oh.
It's tight.
Well, it is tight.
Very tight.
So we're here at Andrea's side. I'm going to come over. I'm going to soften her glutes. Once again, use your bony landmarks to figure out where we want to be. We want to be at the top of her leg and the side, right in those glutes there. Let me use my right leg. I'm going to hook my foot underneath her leg, and I'm going to come in for a compression. As I angle her leg up so I can reach those quads better instead of her IT band, if your receiver wanted more IT work, you would just leave the leg straight, but we're doing quads. If you've never done any time mat work before, if you've never received it, if this is your first time and you're the one giving right now, you may be confused as to why this work is moving so slow. But once you are the receiver and you get to feel this work, you will notice that it's very deep, very intense at times, and you want the giver to move slower. Let's slowly come out, move down the quad, give it another compression. Slowly coming in for a deep compression. Once again, be mindful of your foot that is underneath her leg, just above the knee. I'm about right here underneath her leg. Just be aware that you're not too sharp, you're not too stiff. It is there to support and keep her leg in place. But just make sure it's not digging into your receiver's leg if they don't like that. Some people may enjoy that and then dig away. Is that a good spot for you, Andrea? I thought so. As I moved down to this next compression, I could feel that Andrea's quad was really dense and tight, hard. So I knew it was a good spot to kind of linger for her and let the body react to what we're doing. Slowly come out. Back in. Once again, I'm going to come in and do a little traction. When I'm tractioning Andrea, not only am I working her arm if I'm pulling like this, I'm also opening her neck. I'm going to let her leg go down slowly, put it back on the mat. Come in with a nice little rocking again. So after this, I do plan to go into sideline, but before we do, since I will be moving this pillow, I'm just going to go ahead, come up to my receiver's head. You can relax. And I gripped her neck like this, and I'm just sliding my fingers up the left side of her neck. And you can see the way I'm sitting is really not great because I'm reaching. You can always sit like this. There's many ways. You do what is best for you. Switch hands. You just drag it. We're just giving her neck a little love. It's been staring at a computer all day, on the phone, all those things. So I did 2 lines, I guess you'd call 2 dragging up each side of her neck, right? Just because that felt like that was a good way to do it. There's no right or wrong when it comes to this. It's just how you feel. And now I'm going to pull just straight up with my fingers on her neck muscles. If you wouldn't mind showing the anatomy for the neck really quick. There we are. So you can see what it is that we are working. We're about to get into these trapezius muscles, the levator scapula. So at this time, now I'm going to have my receiver go to her side. You can use a pillow that is supportive enough, but not overly supportive. You'll be able to tell if the neck is cranked. I like to use these yoga blankets. I'm going to fold it twice to give her a nice supportive pillow. Does that feel good?
Yes.
Excellent. If you already use a pillow, just make sure it is forward enough to where you can be right against your receiver so they feel supported. You see here, I'm going to get right behind Andrea. So I'm using my left arm and I'm hooking it and clasping my hands. Those muscles we just showed you, the trapezius, the levator, all those neck muscles. Now we're going to directly come in and give them some attention they've been waiting all day for. I'm just leaning back, Slowly leaning back, pulling her pec open. She might feel this in her low back some. She's definitely feeling this in her neck. With my right hand, I'm in the rhomboids. I'm in the area between her shoulder blades. And I'm actually I've got them sitting here, and I'm moving my left hand and rocking her body onto my fingers. If your receiver has enough space and isn't too tight and is ready for it, you can go ahead and hook the scapula and just open. And then we rock back and we're hooking. We're opening. For some people, they're so tight that maybe you have to work and soften these muscles a little more before you can get in and do that. Totally fine. Once again, we meet our receiver where they are. Just then Andrea's muscle flexed. So what I did was I just paused and waited for her to release, and I kept moving. The body sometimes will have this like last one fight where it tries to hold on. Just be patient. You can't rush the body to open. So this time, I'm going to come up to my receiver and put one hand, my left hand's going to be at the top of her deltoid, the top of her shoulder. I'm going to use my right hand for just support. And I'm going to put my knee right here in her trapezius. You don't need to put a lot of pressure. You can see I barely just leaned in, right? So some people might want more, some people might want less. You listen, talk, and you know what, Andrea, would you like a hip? Would you like your hip supported?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I'm sitting over here looking at her hip just dangling here, and I think my friend might want that supported. So I'm going to go ahead and take another blanket. You can use a pillow. And I'm just going to give her something to give her some support as we're working.
Awesome, thank you.
You're very welcome. Sorry about that. Boom. A little more comfortable, huh?
Yes, yes.
Now we aren't going to be here for that long because this is a short give receive, but I do want you to be aware of how we need to support our receiver as we're working on them. You will appreciate it when it's your time to receive. So once again, I'm going to give length, and I'm just going to give a little compression here to her traps. If you have wrist issues as the giver, maybe you want to use a fist. Maybe you don't even need to stand like that. Maybe you just balance. You can rock the arm a little bit. So though it looks like my knee is on her neck, my knee is going directly down this direction towards her feet. I'm almost pulling the trap back, it feels like. I feel like I hook on and I'm pushing the trap back and down towards the feet. That's how you can do a little rocking to kind of open. Remember that the tip of your knee is pretty sharp. So I'm using this side of my knee. You could really hang out here and do a line up towards the edge of her shoulder. You will find there's a bony structure there. We don't want to press on that. That hurts. We want to stay in this nice, thick muscle here. All right? So before we switch sides, I just want to give one last stretch for her sweet neck. Doesn't want to be this tight. So I have my left hand hooked like we did in the beginning. My right hand here. I'm just giving some length. I am pinning the muscles and lengthening. You might be able to see this better when I flip to see where the thumb placement is. There we are. Be aware of the pressure you're applying towards the head. There's no need to get too wild with this. This is a very good stretch without having to put much effort into. It's kind of rhythmic stretching, right? Going in for a stretch, finding a new spot. All right, and we're going to go ahead and we are going to flip to the other side. Let your partner get adjusted. Give them their hip bolster. Sorry, I stabbed you.
No, you're fine.
Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to the other side of Andrea. Once again, I'm going to nestle right up against. This way she feels like she is supported. She's not going anywhere. I am here. I'm going to loop my right arm. And if your receiver has like a stiff arm, some people aren't really great at letting go. That's okay. I'll just dangle her around a little bit till she kind of gets the point. Hey, let go. But if she doesn't, it's okay. Just let them be. Meet them where they are. Got my hands clasped. And if you ever see like her head is not supported enough, you can always, hey, do we need to change that? You want to let your head be heavy? Is that heavy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there you go. There it is.
Oh.
Give her a break.
Oh, that's what it is. I was like, what? It is relaxed.
Once I looked at the camera, I could see a little better. You can really take your time with this opening. We're just pulling open her pecs, giving space in her neck, pulling the traps down. Leaning back, opening. I'm gonna come in with my left hand here to the area between her shoulder blades and her rhomboid area. And I'm using my right hand to rock my fingers underneath that shoulder blade. You can just come in here and just give this area a little warming, a little attention. Kind of see how everything is feeling in here. Tends to always be some good stuff hiding in here. Some things that need a little extra attention. And I'm hooking and leaning back. Move my hands up a little bit, hooking and leaning back, opening. So I just put her arm onto her side like so. Come up to the top, to her head. Right hand to her shoulder. You can even give a little, if they have really tight arms, give them a little bit softening before you do a compression there, right? Using my left hand as support as I bring my knee into her trap for a compression. Oh, hey.
Yeah.
This side's a little tighter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm readjusting my left knee so that I can sit up. I don't need to be on the ground, right? Got my other hand here. I am just balancing. That foot back there is helping me to put my hand on my hip as my right hand is giving length to the trap. Levator.
We are.
Neck.
That's angry.
That is angry.
really fucking angry. Sorry, really angry. Forget.
Can't take you anywhere.
I know. Jeez.
Sheesh.
Jeez. I try really hard, but then one just slips out.
So I'm just rocking her arm a little bit, letting it shorten, giving it length. It basically is letting my knee slowly ease in. She's very tight on this side. Taking my knee out slowly. Once again, be aware of her bony structures. We don't want to put our knee into this bone. We want to stay into the thick, chunky trap, levator. And you could really just hang out in this compression for a minute. Once you receive it, you'll understand there's no need to move quickly. Moving slow is ideal.
That is awful. But in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez.
There is nothing like a knee into the trapezius. I'll tell you what, I'm into it. If we were doing a real long trade, I would definitely spend more time here for Andrea, but since we don't, we are going to come for another little neck stretch before we do our switch. Once again, oh, you can see so much better here, look. So I'm going ahead and I'm finding a spot, and I'm leaning back. Letting her enjoy that before I release. Find another good spot. And give length. Release. Find another good spot. And lean back. All right. Well, hopefully that makes you feel a little better after your day at work at a computer. Let's go ahead and take a quick bathroom break if you need one. Let's get switched up on the mat. The giver, you're now the receiver. Receiver, you're now the giver. We'll see you in just a couple minutes.
All right, guys, we are back. So we are going to do the same thing again, but this time I'll be teaching and she'll be receiving. So we will start by grabbing her ankles, giving her hips and back and everything a nice little stretch. You don't even have to pull too hard, just kind of, and then what's nice too is if you want a little stretch too, you can kind of pull like that. How's that feel? And then at the same time, I'm also hitting her feet just a little bit. Alrighty. So get that nice and open. And like she said, you can always come up and do more work up the legs, but we'll start here first. All right. So you started by doing palms. That's great. You can do that. Or if you want to, you can use your feet. Just be careful. So the way I do this is I come in and I have my heel on the ground and then I'm just pushing the pedal just a little bit. This is going to be hitting more of the inside of her arm though. So if you're wanting to hit more of the outside, we'll have to come around and hit it a little bit different. And then if you're wanting to add another element to it, you can kind of come down and just very gently hit the forearms. So I'm just compressing here, but not too deep. But then I'm coming in and hitting her forearms and a little bit of her pecs, just opening this up.
It feels like a kitty making biscuits.
Yeah. All of these muscles are so tight from the day's work, the day's grind, the daily grind. Oh, that hit on me. That's gross. I don't care. Alrighty. And if this position is just not comfortable for you, come down. And if you want to use your foot, but I just wouldn't. At this point, I'd just use my hands because it's a little more comfortable and it's easier for you to receive, I'm sure.
Sure.
Sure. You couldn't tell a difference?
No, I could tell a difference.
Okay. Was the foot a little more intense?
Sure.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm being very vague today.
Yes, you are. I was like, great. That's great feedback. Thank you. Wonderful. That's okay. Alrighty. So then while you're doing that, am I going too fast?
No, you're doing great.
Okay.
Go up there if you need to time yourself.
Oh, yeah. So right here, I'm just kind of hitting the back side, her hips, her glutes. What else is in the back? Do we have anatomy for that? Glutes? No. Nope. Oh, yeah. It's all right there. Sorry. Pecs and traps. All right. So I'm just kind of opening that up a little bit, moving it around. At the same time, you can kind of work on her hand. So before I go directly into her quads, I'm just going to get a feel for what we're dealing with. And that, to me, is very tight. So I'm just going to make sure whenever I move her, I'm not too quick about moving her around too hard. And I'm not going to put my foot into her muscles too deep either. All right, so just kind of bring it out in that way, and then you can do this. And then right here, I'm just going to be hitting the top part of her quads, and then we do have the quads, if you wouldn't mind showing that anatomy, please. So right here, I'm hitting up in the vastus lateralis and the rectus femoris, all of those nice, good quad muscles. I believe this is a tensor fasciae latator, though, right here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the TFL. It's kind of where I start. Is that too deep?
No, it's wonderful.
Okay. So you were using more of the side of your foot. I'm using the ball of my foot in this position. And is that other foot on the bottom too much, too sharp?
Great.
Okay, great. Wonderful. So this is a nice little compression. I'm not really doing too much rocking in this situation because I feel it's just so tight.
I was running around at a wedding.
Haha, there you go.
Bridesmaid duties.
Woo, fun.
So very happy we're doing this today.
Yes, definitely need this after standing all day.
Yes.
Ooh, yeah. So now I've switched back over to where I'm using the whole arch of my foot. So it's kind of more curved and it feels a little more, not as intense.
More broad?
Yes, broad. Thank you. That's the word we use. Thank you.
It's amazing.
And I know I already hit the top part, but I found something really tight down here, so I'm kind of loosening that back up, and then I'll sway back down and just kind of pull and push and move that direction. Does that make sense? Yeah. I get a nice sigh, so I think I'm doing something correct. So I'm just very gently, slowly going a little deeper, seeing what I can do before we go too much. And then I'm going to actually kind of curl around to where it's more on top. And then back again to where it's more on the lateral side of her leg. Ooh, yeah. And this is a really good compression to have done if you've been sitting all day, because just the quads are all lengthened all day long. But this is also good for that hamstring on the bottom to kind of get a little bit of attention as well. And go all the way down towards the knee. Just be careful when you do get closer to the knee, and like try not to put the bottom foot like up in all of that, because that can get
pinchy.
Yes, there's lots of nerves running behind there, not a lot of stuff to protect them. So just be mindful of that.
Oh, that's gold.
Yeah. And again, if you're wanting to focus on this, that's great. But if you're also wanting to do a little extra, your partner will appreciate every little bit of touch that you give. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and have you roll over onto your side. Wait, which one?
You want to do the other side first?
Oh, yeah, duh. God, I'm all over the place today.
Okay.
All right. Wait.
Oh, wait.
Yes, okay. So
now there is nothing wrong with if she were to put me on the side, but sometimes the body might, like that side might be like, oh, wait. It'll maybe tighten because it's not been touched.
Yeah.
So the way the body works.
Sometimes if I do that, I will come back and do the whole sequence on the other side.
Yeah.
So if you forget,
do that.
I do that a lot.
Yeah, if you forget.
I'm very ADD, but
most of
my clients don't understand. They're like, oh, it just feels so good. I don't know. I didn't even notice. I'm like, thank God. Yeah, so I'm just coming back in and really compressing the forearms. I can feel they're just so tight. They've been worked, overworked, probably.
We set up the whole wedding.
Oh, yeah.
All
and took it all down. Oh, my goodness. A little bit of pec. You want to show me the pec anatomy, please? Thank you. So I'm just in her pec insertion over here around the shoulder blade, or yeah, in the shoulder. You can work your way towards the sternum if their pecs seem really, really tight, and hers do. If we had a lot more time, I would definitely pay a lot more attention to her pecs, because it feels like she needs some desperate attention on those. Okay. Very nice. A little bit of hand. A little bit of hand. Press. There we go. All right. And then we'll come down and do a little bit of pressing on your legs. And like she was mentioning about the hip and the bony structure, I can feel it right here. So I wouldn't go above that because that's going to be hitting more in the abdominal area. And I just wouldn't mess with that on this situation and what you're doing here. So I'm just kind of coming in and using the ball of my foot to loosen up, and I'm also at the same time assessing what all is going on in here. Like, oof. Yep, that's going to be nice and tight. You take your time. Just feel around. Try not to be too sharp on your partner because they will just jump and that won't help the situation at all. All right, and then I'm going to bring this up. Oh, sorry, I didn't move your hand. I moved it in the way instead of out of the way. All right. So now again, I'm hitting the right tensor fascia lata. Up in here. Hip flexors a little bit too as well. If I were to come further over onto the front, I would be hitting more of her psoas, which is also something that we could address, but probably not today. Definitely not today. And then I'm just making my way down her quads. And again, we have the vastus lateralis, which is going to be on your lateral side, and the rectus femoris, and I don't remember the other two. Semiminosis and semiminosis? I don't know. I think that's them. There we go. Right there on the screen. All right. Oof. How's that there on the knee? All right. Good, good. I can feel the beginning of her bony structures of her knee, so I'm just going to kind of avoid going too far that direction. You'll definitely want to address the knees, but in this position, I just wouldn't. Do it in a different position. Oh, right there, nice and tight. Yeah. If you find a nice gnarly spot, just hang out on it for a minute, or ask your partner what they like. Or just listen to them. That also helps too. It gives away a lot. How is that bottom foot? Is it too sharp?
No, we're doing good.
Okie doke. Yes. Slowly coming out of that deep compression. Come back into another one. Very slowly in. Holding it. And you can kind of move back and forth in different directions, but I wouldn't go too much in any direction. Oof. Until you come out. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm just going to do another pass down just to see if I know it hasn't been a lot of time, but at least a little bit looser, making some progress. If you spent like maybe another 30 minutes, it would be really nice and loose. So if you all want to stay in that, go ahead. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to bring that there, and then I will have you. Oh yeah, you have the hand opening. God.
Okay.
Well, because you added this
stuff you don't normally do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I usually just go. And then so for this, I'm not going to be pushing it down too hard and not flexing it back too hard. Just kind of what she can do, and you'll feel what they're able to receive because they will push back a little. And then I come in and compress around. And I like to come and compress in between all those bones, all the hand bones.
Keyboard warrior hands.
Yes, yes.
Typing away at work.
Give them a little bit of a stretch and a pull, pin stretch. That's the word. But not too much. How's that?
Nice.
Good. Oh yeah, it's nice and tight. Do a little bit of both directions, just opening those up, getting them ready for one last day of the week, and then you have the weekend. All right.
You go back over here. Hey-o.
Yeah, because I
Into
missed that one, remember?
I know.
So
It happens sometimes. These jams. My hand appreciates it though.
I'm sure it does. Oh, it's a little compressing around. And a little stretch back. And I like to have my other hand underneath this one just to make it feel like it's supported. And that I'm not going to try to push it further than it wants to, past its range of motion. Just opening it up and getting it to move a little bit better than it was before we started. Oh, yeah. Other direction. Nice little stretch between all of your carpals. That's what they are. Hand bones. Alrighty. So now we will have you roll to your side.
All right.
So I'll have her roll, and then I'm going to take the pillow and then give her another type of pillow and her little bolster. I'll straighten the lower leg and then bring this top leg over so she's nice and comfortable. And then I'm going to actually move this so I can, there we go. All right, and then I come right down in here and I snuggle right up next to her so she feels nice and supported. And I come in and grab a hold of her shoulder and her trap. I have a little bit of all of her pec, her trap, the levator scap, a little bit of her, all of the shoulder stuff, delts. So I just kind of open up all of that. There we go. A little stretch, a little lengthen. How is that after a long day of work?
That's great. I love how I feel it in my neck, my pec, my low back, my hip. Such a nice move to hit multiple areas at once.
Exactly. Nice little twist.
It's opening.
Mm-hmm. You've been collapsed forward all day on your computer or on your phone or whatever, and now this is opening that up, relieving some of that tension. So this hand is actually like on that pec insertion right before you get to the anterior delts, but it's clasping over onto that anterior delt to give a little bit more stretch and support through that shoulder so it doesn't feel like I'm ripping it off. And then you did the neck from here, correct? A little bit of stretch in here. All right. And then we're going to come up and put a knee into her trap. I like to kind of get an idea of what we'll be dealing with first. So I'm like, okay, so it's really nice and tight in here. I've got really bony knees, so I have to be very careful with where I'm putting what. So as you can see, this is like super broad compared to that. So I'm going to come in right there, and then I will have you tell me if it's too much or when. Right in there, I can kind of, is that about where you want it? Okay. Do you want me to go deeper? Can you handle deeper? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to go in just a little deeper. Watch her face, make sure you don't go too much, and then I'm going to rock a little. Do you prefer rocking or do you prefer static?
I like the rocking.
Okay. So check in with your partner and see what they like. Some of them like it static, some of them like it rocking, and it also depends on the day. Sometimes it's different. Depends on what your body can handle that day. But I feel like the rocking kind of eases the mind to make it think it's not hurting it as much. I don't know.
If you have any friends or family that play poker, this is a great move to help them with their poker shoulders.
Yeah.
But really good for all of us sitting at desks all day. Ooh. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so I just moved up just a hair because I could feel that part that I was on starting to release. So now it's heading more towards that acromion process. the shoulder bone. That thing.
Right there.
Yes.
Oh, that's lovely.
Ugh. I don't think rocking would help with this one, would it? Mm-mm. It's almost too tight for me to do rocking on it. Ah, there we go. And I'm going to come back down and just kind of compress her delts, compress her traps and biceps, her arms, forearms, all that.
So nice.
There. Okay. I'm going to come back around and just do another little stretch and just see where her neck is at.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Tight like a tiger.
Tight like a tiger. So I'm going to come back in, have my hand up here. It's on the pec, part of her pec, part of her anterior delt, just kind of holding up onto that shoulder. And then I'm going to bring it back just a hair, and I'm feeling her neck muscles, her SCM, the anterior scalenes, all of those fun muscles, all the way up into the occipital area. And then I'm just going to hang tight there for a second, and then do a little bit of mobility in her shoulder to see if it will help release her neck some. Oof, right there, I can just feel a lot of tightness. Oof. Sorry, I'm breathing for you.
I need to breathe.
Yes. There you go. There you go. And then I just kind of come back in and gently massage that area just to play nice. Then I come and see if there's any more we can hit right there. Yep. There we go. And gently come out of that. And then we will switch you over to the other side. Correct?
Correct.
Correct. I've obviously done this a million times, right?
Uh-huh. Oh, this is gold.
Awesome. Okie dokie. So again, we're making sure that her pillow bolster is up far enough to where if I come in and need to do anything, it's not going to be in my way, but is also comfortable for her. And I'm snuggled up here using my body up against hers to support everything. Yep, all the way down. And then I just come in and start opening up the shoulder. This side doesn't seem as angry as the other side, so that's good. I don't know, I could be wrong. Oof, there we go. So this is a nice move. It just opens up the pecs and just kind of lengthens those muscles that have been curled over and shortened all day. And you can even come in and use your palm just to feel around her traps and as you're doing a little bit of movement. I find that the body responds better to movement whenever I'm doing this instead of just like compression all the time. It breaks up all of the deep compression tissue. Oof, right here in her rhomboid is nice and tight. So I'm hitting between her spine and her scap here. That is the rhomboid. I'm just going to feel around, bring in my hand kind of cusping it, pulling that scap up on top of it. She has a lot of tension, so I'm not able to get up and underneath there, quite like she was for mine. Lots of tightness there. There's lots of things you can do in this position, hitting lots of different muscles that we all need work on. Since we're working on the pecs, we'll open this up again a little bit. Oof. I'm going to come up to her traps. And I try to make sure that I'm not going to step on her hair. Oops, let's just flop it in her face, though. Sorry.
Okay.
So yeah, I just like to always be aware of like her jewelry, her hair, everything else. I don't want to crush anything into her skin or step on anything, pull anything.
Aw,
be
thanks.
mindful of what you're doing. I try to anyway.
Wow. Boulder on my shoulder.
Yes, yes it is. So again, using this part of my knee. I know it's bony, but boy, is it effective.
All good.
And then I gotta soften it up just a little bit by coming in this direction instead of the other direction. And that is really tight.
Yeah.
Rocking or static?
Rocking.
Okay.
I love rocking.
I do too.
But sometimes if I'm super duper 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 tight,
it hurts.
Yeah, I have to have some static before I can have rocking. I mean, I'm very tight today, but
yes, you are.
I can handle it. Great.
We'll be going over on time just a hair today, but that's okay. Lots of good things.
Would be the full.
Yeah.
With our bathroom break.
Oh, okay, cool. So we're doing right.
Perfect.
You're right. I feel like I was rushing that. I'm like, ah.
You've done great.
So I'm hitting the delts here, just lengthening those open. This is more of the medial deltoid, correct? Yeah. And then you have your posterior and your anterior. Just get a little bit of all of that. Traps, bicep, all of these muscles in here. At the same time that I'm still up here in her trap. So, man, how many things am I hitting just by doing this and not just using my hands, right? That's what I love about this work. It almost distracts you from the pain. There we go. All right. And then I'm going to come back down and around. Got her shoulder. I'm just going to open up and do a couple more passes to see what's available. What progress have we made? Of course, the longer you do this, the more progress you'll have. But a little goes a long way. So come in here to her neck again. Find a nice little spot and hang out. And then I will be opening up her pecs while pinning and stretching her neck. Pinning and stretching the SCM that's been hunched over all day long. At the same time, I'm doing a little bit of movement down here too, just to kind of sort of distract her from anything that might be too intense. And then I come out and do one more up and into the occipital a little bit further up. Behind the ear, where we have a lot of tension built. Just kind of rock you a little bit. Thanks for playing today. All right. And then, oh, we have 1 minute.
Perfect.
Yes.
I realized as I was laying here, I didn't even introduce us.
Oh yes, Kristen Lumsden and Andrea Moore.
Yeah, we're really happy you guys tuned in today for our couples.
Yes.
Couples bodywork trade, computer desk focus, relieving all that tension.
Yeah.
I just jumped right into it. And I was like, I didn't even introduce us.
All right, and that does it for today. Is there anything else we need to mention?
If you guys have anything that, you know, after today's where we focused on working with your partner, your friend, the couples massage with from people that work at computer desks, if you have any ideas of things you're interested in, drop us a little comment. We'd love to hear what you think or what you're interested in learning. I guess that's all from us.
Yeah.
We'll see you in probably about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to be working around the holidays, so stay tuned for us posting about when our next time will be. Offhand, I don't know exactly, but we will be working around the holidays. We look forward to seeing you guys next time.
Yes.
Again, the point of this is so we can work together. So please tune in with us, but no worries if you forget or you're busy at the time that we start. Please feel free to watch them later. At Robert Gardner Wellness, you will see the playlist Tie Jam, and you can see all of our old or past jams we've had together. Yes. But we can't wait to see you guys again. Have a great evening. Happy Halloween.
Yes. Happy Halloween. Thank you.